When you're scrolling through endless listings for a new monitor, the glossy photos and the bold claims can feel almost too good to be true. I've been there seeing a 27-inch 5K Retina screen that promises studio-grade colors, then getting a panel that looks washed out or a stand that wobbles under a simple tilt. That uncertainty is why I spent a few weeks comparing the Apple Studio display to a handful of other high-end options, reading owner forums, and actually pulling the thing out of the box at a local Apple store. I wanted to know if the price tag really translates into a day-to-day upgrade or if it's just a shiny piece of glass that looks great online but falls short in a real workspace. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of people who end up buying a premium display like this. If you're a creative professional photographer, video editor, graphic designer who spends hours tweaking color balance, grading footage, or arranging UI elements, a screen that can faithfully reproduce 14.7 million colors and hit 600 nits of brightness is more than a nice-to-have. The Studio display's 5K resolution means you get a pixel density that rivals a Retina laptop, so text stays razor-sharp and UI scaling feels natural. That's a huge time saver because you're not constantly zooming in to check details. Likewise, anyone who works from home and wants a single, all-in-one workstation will appreciate the built-in 12MP center stage camera and 6-speaker system. The camera automatically keeps you framed in the window, which is a quiet productivity boost for video calls, and the spatial audio makes the occasional music break feel less like you're listening through tinny laptop speakers. Now, who should probably walk away? If you're a casual user who mainly checks email, streams videos, or does light office work, you'll likely be paying for features you'll never fully exploit. The Studio display's high resolution and color accuracy shine when you're editing RAW files or working with motion graphics. For spreadsheets and web browsing, a more modest 4K monitor at a lower price point will do the job just fine. Also, if you're a PC-only user, keep in mind that the display's Thunderbolt 5 connection is optimized for the Apple ecosystem. While you can hook it up to a Windows machine via USB-C, you'll miss out on some of the seamless integration like the ability to use the camera and speakers without extra drivers, and you may need adapters that add cost and potential headaches. Let's get into the everyday experience. I set the Studio display up on a typical desk with a Mac Mini, a wireless keyboard, and a pair of AirPods nearby. The tilt-adjustable stand feels sturdy. You can angle the screen from about 10 degrees down to 20 degrees up without any wobble. That range is enough for most sitting positions, but if you like a full range of ergonomic adjustments, height, swivel, pivot, you'll need the separate Visa mount accessory, which adds another $99. The anti-reflective coating does a solid job at cutting glare from overhead lights, but it's not a full matte finish. In a bright room with sunlight streaming through a window, you'll still notice a faint shimmer on the right side of the screen. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to keep in mind if your office isn't fully controlled lighting. Audio is often an afterthought on monitors, but the Studio display packs 6 speakers with spatial audio and force-canceling woofers. When I played a high-resolution music track, the bass felt present without being overpowering, and dialogue in movies stayed clear. The speakers are calibrated to the display's size, so they fill the room without sounding tinny. However, they're not a substitute for a dedicated desktop sound system if you're an audiophile or do sound design work. The volume knob on the side is convenient, but the maximum output caps out a bit low for larger rooms, meaning you'll probably still need external monitors for critical listening. The camera is a standout for video calls. The 12MP sensor with center stage uses machine learning to keep you centered, even if you move left or right. In practice, it works smoothly, the transition feels natural and there's no noticeable lag. The built-in microphone array picks up your voice clearly, but it does pick up some background chatter if you have a busy household. For most remote work scenarios, it's more than adequate, but if you're recording professional interview footage, you'll still reach for a dedicated DSLR or camcorder. One hidden trade-off that catches people off guard is the lack of built-in USB-A ports. The 2 Thunderbolt 5 ports handle power delivery, video, and data, but you need a dongle or hub to connect older peripherals. That's not a huge issue if you already run a USB-C hub, but it adds another component to manage. Also, the display's power draw is about 90 watts at full brightness, which isn't huge but does mean you'll want a reliable power strip if you're stacking multiple Apple devices on the same outlet.